of Halliwell. I am Drew Fuller.
I'm Holly. I played his mommy.
You did play my mommy. And then there's Brian, Daddy AF.
Brian Grouse, kind of father.
Kind of father?
I get it. I don't know.
You were an absentee father, if we're going to be honest about it.
I guess that was kind of the issue the whole time, huh?
Yeah, daddy issues. Guys, so thank you so much for kind of going down this rabbit hole with me.
Sure. Anytime.
Yeah. Really anytime? It's just taken all the time.
Never ready.
Really, truly, they are never ready. This is going to be
super annoying for people who don't understand our shorthand language.
They'll get it. I mean, we only have 200 more of these to go, so at some point
That's not daunting whatsoever.
I know. No, it's fine. But this is really an iteration of, or a continuation of something that we have been discussing for a long time about trying to bring original content to the fans without, doing a reboot. And obviously things like that have been discussed. And obviously there was actually a reboot, not with the original cast, but, it seems that you guys, the fans, have been wanting the original crew cast people to kind of give you more content. And so I was brainstorming one day and just had this idea of like, let's dive back in from the very beginning and do the deepest of deep dives into these behind the scenes stories and excavate all the detail.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah, we're just hanging out, but we really wanted to kind of dive in and give you guys something special and different. And it's exciting. I'm excited. So thank you both for being here because I love you guys so much. And traveling the world with you for the last 10 years, doing different conventions and stuff has definitely set the bar for you guys to be comedic geniuses.
Oh.
And yeah.
Well, you've taught
to
us
continue.
Well, it has been life-changing since the show, in the adaptation of Comic-Cons and being able to travel around the world and us being able to continue a relationship after all these years is pretty incredible. I think for us to share it with the fans and with each other and how life has just grown, it's a big piece of my life, that's for sure. Makes me feel like it's all my family. So, thank you and Holly and Pepe and all the fans. It's been amazing.
I honestly think we're closer now than we were even back then.
I don't even think I knew you guys then.
Truly, that's how I feel.
Oh Lord! Well, we definitely got.
Now I can call you at 3 a.m. and be like, "Hey."
Oh no! But it's true. I mean, we went to Saudi Arabia together. We've been to. It feels like every single random city across the country together.
Far-flung regions of the world for sure.
Really kind of dipped our toes into random bars and across the globe. Okay, guys, do we just dive right in?
Oh, if we have to. Do you have a pop quiz for me? Because I'm afraid.
I do.
Listen, disclaimer, this was 20 some odd years ago. So there may be some things I do not
discrepancies.
Recall. Fifth Amendment, all the things.
Sure. So if I ask, did anyone date Andy Trudeau in real life?
Absolutely not. He's a saint. Only his wife.
Oh, okay.
That part I do remember.
Okay. See, these are good.
I remember strange things like locations and props.
What was the cat's name?
Kit.
Kitty. Who closed the door on the first ep?
Really me, but she made it look like it was her.
Who's she?
That was my foot that I tapped it. So
I think it was Shannon, actually.
I claim it. Yeah, well, I helped her out. There was an assist.
And what was the name of the first episode?
Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah, and do you know what that's a play on?
Yes, I do.
Which is?
Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Which is?
Fuck.
Yep.
You know what? If I knew...
It's a Raymond Bradbury book.
I know.
I had to look it up.
If I knew you were going to Wikipedia, Google all the nuances, I will be ready for you next time.
Listen, that's how I'm coming every ep. So basically, episode 1, Something Wicca This Way Comes, is directed by John Kretschmer. It aired October 7th, 1998. I was 18 years old. Just for the audience who's keeping track. So
were you
tell
17
me,
or 18? Decide.
No. In October, I was 18.
No.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah.
Say 98?
Yeah, 98.
Yeah.
What were you?
Mm-hmm. You were there, Bri.
Yeah, BK, you were there.
I was in my 20s.
Stay with me.
So, HMC,
Barely.
diving right in, what was the audition process like for you?
Rough.
Was it?
Rough. Yeah, I had got the script, and I was in the process of auditioning. Shannon and I were friends, and I noticed...
Shannon Doherty?
That's the one.
Okay,
I noticed that she had this same charm script in the back seat of her car on the floor. Like, kind of like she had ran her seat back and forth across it a couple times. And I was like, did you get this? Did you read this? And she goes, no, it's a spelling show. And I was like, yes, but if they sent it to you, then they would like you to do it. So maybe you should read it because it's a good one. It's a good one. I think you'll like it. So we go through, she had her meeting with Aaron. They sort of patched up their things. And then we had this weird sort of process that has never happened to me before or since, where we kind of got down to the wire. I should say I did, like 3 or 4 auditions later. And Shannon and I both went to Aaron and said, we're this old right now, and we can actually play the oldest sister and the middle sister instead of the middle and the youngest. So he had sort of seen Shannon as Piper and me as Phoebe, which is all sorts of wrong. And he had another actress in mind for the oldest sister.
Do we know her?
We do, and we're not naming the names.
Why can't we name names? This is where we spill all the tea.
Later. And literally, so we had to like show him our driver's license to convince him that we were old enough.
And we're still not going to tell us the age.
No.
Okay.
No.
Hey, Google, how old was Holland Marie Combs in October?
Hey, Siri.
1998.
Anyway, so because obviously, like Shannon was born to play Prue, and I was a far better Piper than Phoebe. So he trusted us with that information and those fake ideas. No, they were real. And he decided on a younger third sister. And it was the first time, he said, in his history of, casting a show where he went to the network and he said, this is my cast.
Wow.
And they were like, well, we appreciate that, Mr. Spelling, but no, it is not. And so they basically gave him 2 out of the 3. And they wanted to reserve the right to cast the third sister. So they did. Okay. And then she didn't work out. So
was he responsible for casting Alyssa?
Yes.
That was his call?
Yep, because she had just done Fantasy Island with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mel, was she on Mel?
Yeah,
No.
she was on Melrose. And,
Melrose.
And so basically he did get his cast in the end that he wanted.
Amazing.
Right.
Did you guys have to do some sort of chemistry read for network or anything like that to kind of show that?
I didn't have to do a chemistry read. Shannon was already in, she was at the office with me when I read. And so was Aaron. Like when he said, this is my cast, I'm bringing them, like he brought us to the office. He brought us to the WB office. And I read in front of, like a wall of 15 people. And Aaron went in the room after me and Shannon was outside. And they basically said to him, not basically, word for word, they said to him, we don't think she has the star power that Shannon does. And he said, well, great. If you don't want her, I will take her and I will make her a star somewhere else. Wow. And I think Shannon heard some of the rumblings from the office and it was taking a bit longer. So she actually went in the office with him. And she said, this is my cast, too.
No way.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It was really cool, but then talk about, being on unsolid ground.
Right.
When I went into set, like going, cool. So the network is like against me, and I was like a concession. And, there was a point in the first season where I called the executive producer in charge at the time and I went, I am so tired. Like, what are you doing? And he said to me, I'm going to prove to the network that they were wrong about you.
Wow.
And I was like, ouch.
How long did that stay with you, that little bit of that seed of doubt?
I mean, it's the actor's prerogative to just be neurotic. You know, you're never going to work again after a job ends. And still that, like, you know, you could get 1,001 million good reviews, but you will always remember that one that was not good.
BK, do you have anything to ask about that?
No, I'm just thinking about that couple reviews I've had.
We've sent Brian to a real dark place.
And you know, when social media got involved, that was just, you could read 1,000 really sweet messages and just be like that one person who were like, you are
but
trash.
You guys, you know, you can never read any of you can't read people's comments. Like,
well, sure, that's how my counterparts like survive. But
you can't do it, and you can't engage. Never engage.
You can't
with the negative. You can never engage. It's a fool's errand. It's
I did not get the memo.
Yeah, do not engage with any of the negativity.
I engage less now.
Right. Okay. But you should not engage at all, because it's a losing battle. It's uphill, and you can, you know, people can say nasty things and do whatever they want, awful on social media, and it's just the forum it's not great. I actually had a question on social media. They just want to know, do you still wear a red sash/scarf ascot when you cook? No. I just made that question up.
That
no fan. No one knows we're doing this.
I was looking at it and bless it, but literally the smallest chef's jacket ever in creation. Like literally, did everything need to be form fitted?
Listen, all the outfits truly were out of control. The outfits were out of control.
Well, you know, bless it that I was 24 and had the body to do it, you know, I guess. But at the same time, I'm looking at it now and going, damn, that was snug. But it's not as bad as shows now. We weren't nearly as naked as people now on TV shows. We didn't wear as much makeup. There are no false eyelashes. There were all the things that we got away with being and doing that actresses now are, you know, I've thought about auditioning for shows now that immediately require nudity up front. Like, you're going to be nude here at some point, so let's just write that away.
What show?
Never You Mind.
Well,
and literally, but, you know, I look at our show now and I was like, we had the freedom to not wear makeup if we didn't want to at some point we were able to say no to clothes and all the things. So it's, you know, age of innocence.
There was a purple cable knit sweater that I, as well, on the bad guy, who also kind of looked, from a casting standpoint, looked exactly like Andy, kind of
similar.
Like your boyfriend?
You know,
wasn't he your boyfriend?
You guys know from auditioning for spelling shows that there is a certain criteria, and the jawline is one of them.
Now I turn my attention over to BK's jawline. I'm like,
the jawline. There's a spelling jawline for sure.
Right.
When it comes to the guys, certain type of hair, certain type of eyes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
He was loyal.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm glad we had some. Seeing like Andy like shirtless, I was like, oh. Equal opportunity man candy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So much more now.
So much more now.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel like forever ago, or when you were rewatching it, do you remember it as if it was yesterday?
Like I said, there's weird things that I remember. Like, there's certain, like, I look at my face and I'm like, I don't know who that is. But there's, and the voice, like my voice is different.
Yeah, all our voices are different.
No, it's not.
Except for Leo's. Leo's is on.
No, but literally, like, I remember, like, I remember where that was filmed, because you drive the location. Or I remember holding that clipboard or that bottle of wine or the smell of it. It's the sensory stuff that, like, you remember the most. But the rest of it, you know, the lines, the other stuff is just, like, decades away, because it was decades away. And it's super odd, especially when, like, some of my older shows where, like, you watch yourself and you have zero idea of what you're about to say next. This is not a normal state of being. This is why actors are a little nutty. You're like, oh, can't wait to see what I'm going to say next. Ew.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like when it would air, would you sit at home and watch, or is this, or
that
did you kind of
really weird? Would I sit at home and watch myself?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of actors do that. A lot of people don't.
You know what's weird is that I literally put off like rewatching this till the very last minute. Like not last night, Drew. Like I watched it this morning. Oh. I just wanted it to be fresh.
That's sure.
In my mind. No, here's the thing. Like I've become a very different actor in my old age, whereas maybe it's part of aging. But when I was doing Charmed, I was so over invested that I would watch every bit of dailies at lunch.
Do you want to explain what dailies are?
Okay, so dailies is basically like the videotape of what you filmed the day before. And so I would get like a box of tapes.
Like VHS tapes?
Yeah. Of everything we filmed the day before. And I would watch the whole thing. Every piece of tape at lunch in my trailer. And then I would watch the episode once when it was finished. And so I've seen every episode once.
Okay.
But not more than that.
But starting this morning, you've seen.
Now I've seen it twice.
You've seen the first episode
twice. I'm not happy about it because I caught so many mistakes that I made that I was like, "You're fired," and "You're fired," and "You're fired." To myself, which I've worked with, really great actors in my life, and Tom Skerritt was the one person who said to me, "If you're ever satisfied with yourself and your performance, that's the day you should stop." Because then you stop getting better. So apparently I'm just getting better and better and better and better because I saw shit today that I was like, did you really do that? So many things I would have done differently. This was super weird. Like we didn't have a real pilot. We had a 20-minute presentation that was just basically like a Hallmark card of what we thought we might be. Like, hey.
Wait. Sorry. This is important actually. Let's rewind to this because the traditional arc of things is you shoot a pilot, which is usually that acts as the first episode, right? And it's a full-length episode that's then presented to the network and to the studio, and they kind of say yes or no, and then decide to give it a pickup, right? And then it's usually
it takes twice as long as a normal episode. You put twice as much effort into it because you want it to get picked up. And then with these presentations that they decided to do in that day and age, it was literally like, we're going to go half-mast.
It's like a highlight reel, essentially?
Basically.
Okay, so they shoot a highlight reel.
This is what it should look like.
Right.
This is what
weird.
It might be like.
You're right, because pilot episodes usually cost double what a normal standard episode costs, right? And so
we got paid double, except no, not for presentations. See how it all works out for the producers and the networks that way, that we're like, we're just going to do this presentation. And then if it gets picked up, then you do the rest of it, and then you do episode 2.
So you guys shot pilot presentation and then went to... And then they said, okay, we've seen enough that we like here, so we're going to continue to shoot episode 1.
Yeah, but then in the middle of that, we had a cast change. Like our original actress decided she didn't want to do it for personal reasons. So then we had to recast, and we had already got picked up to do the pilot. And we were at like a TV guide. Actually, I think we got picked up for, I think it was half a season based on our presentation.
And so what is half a season back then? Like 11 or 12 eps? 13?
Yeah, 12. Okay. 12, 13. And we had found out during the like TV guide photo shoot.
What's TV guide?
Oh my God. If you're going to do this every 5 minutes, I'm going to have to just send you
What's TV
to
guide?
Wikipedia.
I mean, I did see a Yellow Pages make an appearance in episode 2.
Okay, so let me explain. It's a guide for what is on TV.
Wait, what do you mean?
This was a guide for what was picked up to be on TV.
Was it a physical guide?
Yeah, it's like a pamphlet. So on your TV that has a guide,
a pamphlet?
And
it's
you
not
see
a pamphlet.
It was like a little book, like a Reader's Digest book, it
was like a book, and so
it was a pamphlet, the TV guide, and you got it for the whole week.
And how often would you get one of these? Like once a month?
It was for the week, right, or monthly. There was bigger sizes.
There were.
Interesting.
For
my mom used to collect them.
What a time to be alive, you two.
And if you had your picture on the cover of TV Guide, it was a big deal.
Wait, were you guys on the cover of TV? Deal. Were you on the cover of TV Guide?
Yes.
The girls did, yep.
Wow, no way.
We each had our own individual cover.
Oh, yes. So you're at a TV Guide photo shoot. You've had a half a season pickup. What happens next?
We find out that our youngest sister is not coming. So we do the photo shoot with us on either side because, again, there was not Photoshop in the olden days. And we leave space in the middle for whoever is going to become our new sister.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you do the fake arm around move?
No, it's out there. We both did like a hand on the hips thing. Like, yeah.
We really do need to see this.
Yeah.
Like immediately. Maybe I should Google it.
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. So you do that. And then how long did you have to wait before the Phoebe was cast?
It was real quick. It was real quick because Aaron chose Alyssa, who had been doing an episode of the Fantasy Island reboot for him. Basically, like, I think the week before. So she was, like, in Hawaii and cast. And the network just said yes, because I think they were done arguing with us at that point. They were like...
Amazing.
Yes.
And so how much you said, how much did you actually have to reshoot? Like, how much had been in the can up to that point?
We had to reshoot everything with the sisters. I think, like, the only thing that remained from the original was my fight scenes with my boyfriend.
The one in the purple cable knit sweater?
That's the one. It wasn't purple.
100% it was.
Like a lilac.
Okay. Is lilac purple?
It's a purple.
Or periwinkle. Mm-hmm. These are purple.
Sure.
Yeah, and it's a cable knit sweater, and it was very tight.
Uh-huh.
Oh, so the fight scene in the elevator with the knife. Yes. By the way, I didn't see that coming.
You didn't?
No.
I didn't.
Like because every guy, this is my big takeaway, at least from the first 3 that I've watched so far, is like every single guy is so sus. They're all so suspect.
Well,
and like the way they're edited and played, and it's like everyone is such a suspect of like, oh wait, they're bad. Oh, he's bad.
Knowing what to expect. Okay.
Like I had no idea. I'm like, oh, it's the boyfriend. No way. Okay.
On a very special dateline. Yes, it is always.
It's always the boyfriend. But it also could have been the preacher, the pastor. Wait, I wrote down he had like this gnarly line that was so like, hey man, that was real intense.
He's so witches burn him at the stake. It was
the witches burn him at the stake. And I was like, that's
something like don't let them live, basically.
Yeah.
Like,
cool.
How did you feel about the genre? I mean, it's one thing to work with, the girls and knowing what you're going into, but just attacking that genre itself.
Mm.
There was some backlash. There were people, in those days, in the olden days, Drew, there was only
Do we want to refer to them as golden? Golden.
All right.
The golden days?
There was actual fan mail that was like delivered to your trailer door. And there were some people who felt we were too authentic and that we were spreading bad juju. And there were other people that felt we were not authentic enough and wanted it to be more accurate. And it was like a perfect storm of not being able to please anyone.
I mean, it's the story of everyone's life, right? Was this pre-Craft? Had the Craft come out yet?
It was all around the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Hocus Pocus was after that. The Michelle Pfeiffer movie, which one was that? Had come out.
The Witches with Jack Nicholson.
I think that one came.
Or Witches of Eastwick.
Yeah, I think that was mid-90s.
Did you see shades of Jack Nicholson in the performance, like when he gets like messed up by us? Because I did.
But from like, shades of what?
Jack Nicholson. When we attack him with like the thorns. And he's like, you bitches. And I was like, oh no, he called me a bitch. And I was like, whoa.
Yo, there were also a lot of sexual innuendos. I was like shocked. I was like, in the 90s? This is
the WB
very risque.
Was definitely pushing the envelope.
Okay.
It wasn't, I don't think it was a spelling thing. Because he wanted it to be known that we were very much the good guys, especially like that's basically what episode 2 is cementing in, that we were the good guys. We were witches that could go to church, apparently. But we were not allowed to have tattoos at that point.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, that's true. I didn't see any tattoos on any of y'all.
Well, we sort of saw Alyssa's tattoo in a bad cover-up.
Which one was Alyssa's one that
the shoulder
that she
tattoo.
had?
Yeah.
Oh, the shoulder tattoo.
Yeah, you can see it. Maybe it's just me.
Speaking of the witchcraft, what was it like that first time you guys cast that spell? Was it weird? Like, I know like there was like a lot of leaning into it ultimately.
We just had to sell it. It wasn't easy, and I think that people underestimate like how hard that is to make believable, especially when you don't know what the special effects are going to look like. You have to use your imagination, and you have to not be afraid of making a fool of yourself. Like, Kiefer Sutherland, like literally go all the way in, lean into it. And
wait, was Kiefer on the show?
No, it's not. But, like he always has such conviction in everything he does. Everything. Like he can make you believe clearly anything. And that's kind of what you have to do. And then pepper that with humility and a sense of humor and lightness, which we somehow managed to do. But yeah, we had no idea that we would be saying that spell quite a few times in the future either.
Sure. Did you guys recognize, I mean, when there's lightning in a bottle, we've all been a part of something where you kind of you look at each other and you look around, you're aware of how special the moment is. The moment the Alyssa piece was kind of inserted, did you recognize immediately what you guys had stumbled upon in regards to this lightning in the bottle, this show at this time and this place, this golden age of television?
No. I mean, the first few, we were just basically like on that treadmill, kind of finding our footing and trying to prove ourselves. I think when Alyssa came in, with Alyssa and Shannon being like, child actors, and they had so much experience, and there was a moment of just clarity where we were all in it for the right reasons and all in it to make an adult success for ourselves, because it's really hard to transition from that child teen actor to an adult, which is I think really why Shannon and I wanted to play the older characters, because we spent years at 19, 20, 21, 22, even playing 16-year-olds, because it's cheaper for the producers that way when you're over 18 to play a teenager. Because to hire a teenager to play a teenager, they can't work as many hours. They, they have school, so they have to have breaks for that. So we spent years trying to play younger, or having to play younger. And so to finally be able to play our own ages accurately was a relief. And we wanted to make that transition authentically and be like, yes, we can play grown-ups.
So the woman who created the show, Constance, is it Burge? Constance Burge. What was your interaction? Like, this was her baby, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
What was your experience in regards to talking to her, and like how much input did she have, and did you guys have a lot of interaction, and did she kind of inform you about like what she saw with these characters and where she saw the show going, etc.?
Yeah, well, she actually based the show and the characters on her sisters. So she had a very clear vision of who and what she wanted for each character. And she was very invested. And, she had a few conversations with me of, no, this character is like this. And this person is like this. And because she had based it on real people, which is, you write what you know, and then there's a degree of authenticity to it that is important, because they were all different. They needed to be different. And that was another thing that Aaron was a great proponent of from his success with Charlie's Angels, is you give the audience somebody to relate to, and they all need to be different. And that way, they're all individuals, even if they're related. So part of that process, even with him, is you don't change your hair for like the first 6 episodes at all. You don't put it up, you don't put it down, you keep it the same, because he felt like people got familiar with a person's identity, their physical appearance. And so it was kind of like cemented in their brain that this is this character, this is the one I like, this one's different, but I like this one more. And he wanted to make sure there was that diversity. And Connie was the same way with their personalities. And I think, we were, all three of us, and Rose included later, inherently just born to do those people, because there are elements of all of us in them, and it just sort of melded together after time.
Going back on what you had asked earlier about kind of knowing, you and the girls had chemistry and going into the show, Spelling had a track record for putting shows pretty quickly on air when he took something to a network. His track record goes back to the 70s. I mean, he's always had a couple shows on. Did you guys feel a confidence knowing that, so many actors have done so many pilots? I mean, you look at Matthew Perry, apparently has the record of doing like 1 million pilots before Friends hit. So we all know actors who have done a pilot that didn't get picked up. But did you feel differently with this one, that you had a higher probability?
Well, he was a very heavy hitter at the WB at the time, but no, because, at that time, the WB only had enough promotional money to advertise one show a season, one new show a season, basically.
That's right.
And
I remember.
Yeah, they picked their darling, and we were definitely not that. Felicity was their darling that year. So we always felt like we had to struggle to prove ourselves as basically like the dark horse. At a certain point, we were like just a hamster on a wheel, just trying to keep it going, just trying to keep it interesting. And it wasn't really until, I think it was maybe around the third or fourth episode that we got our credits together. And it was the first time.
What do you mean by that?
It was the first time we knew what our theme song would be, that we saw the credits played before us. And Shannon and I went into our producer's trailer, and he was like, Les Sheldon, he goes, I want to play you guys something. And he played it, and we heard the music, and I literally got chills, and I was like, maybe this is, like, they've been telling us it's not good, but maybe it is good.
Ooh, I just got chills right there.
Yeah, and it was a moment. It was definitely a moment in time where we were like, maybe this is something special.
I've just pulled up some interesting stats. So Charmed achieved a cult following and popularity on the WB with its first episode, Something Wicca Comes This Way, garnering 7.7 million viewers, breaking the record for the network's highest rated debut episode. The show's ratings, although smaller than rival shows on the big four networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox, were a success for a relatively new and smaller WB network. Like those, if a show on CBS or NBC gets a 7.7 now, like that's massive. Like you guys were, when you first debuted and aired, like that is such a ratings juggernaut. Like it's shocking that it didn't kind of feel instantly like, I think we reference later that you're like, oh, it's a success, but that is a massive amount of people kind of tuning in and like showing up and being excited about a show.
Yeah, I think we got the full pickup the next day after the premiere, but they didn't give us the full year pickup until it premiered, which is also unusual. But it was a smaller network at the time. It was like the WB and UPN were just starting, which they're now the CW.
That's right. It was the Frog.
Yeah.
The WB Frog.
Yeah. And so they were doing everything on a smaller level, which was smart financially. But yeah, it was nerve-wracking for us because we were like, do we have a home? Do we belong somewhere? What is going on? Watching
these episodes for the first time, you can tell it. Like I got it immediately. Again, there was a look and a vibe and a subject matter that was so different from anything else that was on TV. It was just, it was fun, but it was also cool and it had like an edge to it.
Well, yeah, a lot of the edgy stuff was in the script where I was like, are we allowed to do this sort of violence yet? And there were a lot of standards and practices in that time where they would say, you can't point a gun directly at somebody's head, you can't show blood. We had a lot of parameters to sort of dance around at the time. And then, we had Tom Del Ruth, who was the DP extraordinaire from ER, and he just made it dark and moody, and he made it move, with steady cams in a way that
cool. It looked so cool. Like that whole first episode, I think the whole thing was like under the cover of like night and thunder and lightning, and it was moving and it was sexy, and it was everything about it. I was like, oh yeah, like I get the appeal immediately.
Yeah, it was fluid, and it was moving the story along, and that's all camera moves and that's all editing.
And it opens with a murder. Like a show opening with like a murder is such a gutsy move. It's so cool.
At that time it was, for sure.
Did you get to use her a lot as a like a soundboard in regards to trying to find the voice of your character in the show? She was 100%
a sounding board, and you know, she had very clear ideas of who should be who. At the same time, you know, because Shannon and Alyssa, and me to a degree, had done shows before, you know, we needed to also find our own voice within those bodies and within those characters. So it was definitely a collaboration. I tried to honor her story and her people, but at the same time, you know, me being, you know, the last show I had done, I was number 5 on the call sheet. So this was a whole new level for me.
What was the show? Just for the fans that don't know. Picket Fences. How long were you on that show for?
4 years.
4 years. Interesting.
Yeah. A really great training ground for me. Really.
Picket Fences was? Oh yeah, that was what you worked with Tom Skerritt.
That was my base, and they taught me how to treat a crew, and they taught me how to get through a day, and they taught me how to be real. But you know, Piper was a very different character for me, and she was super high strung and super panicky all the time. So she was all in all the time.
Right. I mean, BK, again, anything else you want to ask about Something Wicca This Way Comes?
You know, it's interesting, though, being around. As an actor in Hollywood, you would know that this pilot was being shot at that time. Like fair enough. Actors were aware of who was getting cast in this.
And
because
there was a pilot
there was a murmur about it.
There was actually a season. There was a season for pilots. You know.
There used to be a season for pilots. That's true.
No such thing.
But knowing the girls were going to be put together, and after having learned that, I think as an audience, it's like, oh, this is exciting. I think just through casting alone, putting Shannon, Alyssa, and yourself together, I think, you know, it's like it already has energy, and it was must see TV at the time. For sure. And I guess my question is, did you 3 feel that, obviously you kind of touched on that before, of a pressure of performing together, or was it just, were you already all friends, where just kind of like, oh great, we're doing this, let's put it up?
No, there was 100% camaraderie in the beginning, that we all had a common goal to make it good. And I think you can see that. And they both stepped out of the bounds of what they had done and portrayed before. And you see a lightness to Shannon that's there. And you see a seriousness to Alyssa that was not there before. And I think it brought out elements of them, which really helped their characters and help them go forward as actresses. You got to see different elements of them.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like at that time I was just juggling a lot of balls in the air. Like
a lot
literally.
of balls.
Yeah. Whoa. And it kind of, all the puns intended. And I kind of like, you know, was just literally striving to make it work, as Piper was as well. So
you killed it. Again, watching it, I had so much, there was a lot of joy kind of watching young iterations of both of you. I'm like, oh my God, it's an origin story for me. Basically, I'm getting prequel right now.
The middle child trying to keep it together was real.
Still trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
What a time.
What a time. What a time to be alive.
What a time.
I guess we can talk real quickly about the effects. I thought that was pretty cool. There was a couple, as we're establishing your powers, each of you guys, the freeze thing, which was really cool. And so we talked about
it was not really cool.
It's a cool power.
It was not really cool. No. And what had happened was,
okay, educate us, please.
They didn't tell me in that moment that was going to be my motion for the rest of time. So they didn't tell me that when you do this with your hands, you're going to be, stop it. That is not what it is at all.
Guys, I want everyone to watch that in slow motion.
That's not what it is.
Yeah, it's almost.
First of all, you're going backwards.
Yeah, you went backwards.
No, you go forwards.
Okay, tell us more.
You need to rewatch the rewatch again.
I can't watch it again. I've watched it enough. I've watched it as much now as any fan.
No, it's.
Well, you've talked about it enough. I can't wait to watch it.
Oh my God, Brian. You are fired again.
BK, you're fired. No, but the special effects, I thought that was pretty cool about when Shannon and Alyssa were in the pharmacy.
Yes.
And, Phoebe starts
that was just literally a bunch of grips like knocking stuff off the shelves.
Oh, okay. Well, that was cool. What about the cappuccino, the coffee, and the milk and the creamer?
I wasn't there for that one, so I can't tell you.
Who was in that scene? Oh, it's Phoebe.
How many times have you watched Jaws?
20.
Like at least 10? Why? What's the Jaws reference?
I'm just saying.
It's another classic, clearly.
Oh, yeah. Hey, BK, how many times have you watched Something Wicked Comes This Way? Okay, moving on.
17.
0.5.
Do we need to say anything about this
watched
episode?
it when it was on television.
Yeah, in the 90s?
Yeah.
Hey, so I think we covered a bunch. Do we have anything else that we need to cover? Ultimately, basically, we should wrap up exactly what happens in the episode. So, BK, I want you to know how they got their powers, because this is like...
Okay, educate me.
Yeah. So, there's some glowing light out of a trunk, and then Phoebe goes into the trunk, and then she pulls out a book, and she reads something out of the book, and she basically bestows... This whole thing is Phoebe's fault. She bestows all the powers on you guys.
It is.
It's basically an accident.
And that's it.
It was planted, right? The door was left open.
Right.
I feel like Leo was there. This is what I said earlier.
No, Leo, it was not even Leo at this point.
Leo
was
into the attic. I unlocked the door. I orb out. Boom. Gone.
And that is the episode. You guys vanquished this guy who's been Jeremy with a purple cable knit sweater. We don't need to go in there again.
You sure?
But Holly's boyfriend, shocker. You pick him. Hey, you know how to pick him, Piper.
Yeah, Piper got a picker.
Piper the picker.
Piper's picker is broken.
Piper's picker is fucking broken.
Not working.
By the way, that's the tag for the episode. Piper's picker is broken.
Say that fast.
Gross. And yeah, you the guy you picked, the guy you're sleeping with.
Yeah.
The journalist.
Yeah. The bad fortune cookies.
He's a bad journalist.
Did you guys
he's a
have
bad
lunch
demon.
on set? Did you hang out a little?
Yeah, did you make out with that guy? What was his name?
Get to know each other before,
Hey, did you make out with him? I want honest answer right now.
Honestly,
Yeah, honestly. What was that guy's name? Hold on. Wait.
Eric.
His name was Eric. All right. So,
Eric.
real fast, Holly, did you make out with Eric on or off screen? Truth or dare?
This is not a part of
Oh
the
my God, that's a fucking yes, y'all.
No, I'm fairly certain I was engaged. If I wasn't
Which time?
engaged on the show, I was married.
Right.
Which time?
Any season.
She made out with him, straight up.
I did not.
You promise?
Why are you blushing?
Well, because I love it. I want the fucking tea spilled. Was there a little bit of art imitating life is all?
Absolutely not. I was engaged.
Okay, so you made out with Eric.
I did not.
You didn't?
Nope.
Did Alyssa make out with Eric?
Not that I know of. No, she was engaged at the time, too.
Oh, God. Who was she engaged to?
Sinjin.
Oh, right.
Was Shannon engaged as well?
No. Did Shannon make out with Eric?
I think she was, actually, to Rob.
To whom? Who the fuck were you guys all engaged to?
We were busy, okay?
Yeah,
Listen, man, it was a busy time of marriage and babies. That was the late 90s. That was people having babies and getting married.
Not babies.
That was Hollywood time for all those 20-something.
You were having babies.
I had.
Wait, was she engaged to Ashley Hamilton? Was that time?
No, that was much before that.
Okay. Well, damn. I'm gonna have to Google this.
Oh no.
Okay. Well, did anyone make out with Roja?
No.
Okay.
No.
That wasn't a definitive no either, everyone.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, I think that concludes episode 1 of Something Wicked This Way Comes. Thank you so much for watching, listening, tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You're going to get gold like this on a weekly basis, and we're going to find out who and what Holly made out with each week.
Wow.
That's going to be a reoccurring segment for sure.
Okay. So this was not necessarily gold, but we're going to get better at it.
Yeah. It's a work in progress. Like, we can't start out at 100 because then, like, where do we go? Like a solid 90 though? Do you give us a 90? Like, what's our letter grade?
Okay, I was in the episode, so you guys have to grade the episode.
Oh, the episode itself?
Oh, they grade the episode itself. I'd say an 8.
Solid.
I give it an 8 too. Almost a 9. And I'll tell you why. Look, again, there was nothing like it on TV. Your guys' dynamic was really fun. There was a dark element to it. I liked that there was kind of a mystery that you, like, it had all the pieces for dynamic storytelling. But, like, you know, like, it's three beautiful witches, and you're funny and pretty. Come on.
And that's our story, and we're sticking to it. Thank you so much for listening and putting up with us. And we're gonna get better at this. You watch, folks.